Okay, this is section 9.3, and this is all about absolute value. So the absolute value of a number is a measure of its distance from zero on a number line. Absolute value is denoted with those vertical bars around the number or expression. For example, -3 would be read as the absolute value of -3 and is equal to +3 because -3 is 3 units from zero on the number line. So use the definition of absolute value and the number line to answer the following questions. Number 1, suppose that the absolute value of u equals 5. What possible values could u have? Well, u, if we go a distance of 5 to the right, could be +5. But if we go a distance of 5 in the negative direction, then u could also be -5. Okay. Suppose that u equals 0. What possible values could u have? Well, the only way to be 0 away from 0 is to be at 0. So u could be 0. All right, what about u being -5? What possible values could u have? This one makes no sense because distance always has to be positive, so there's no way to go -5 in any direction. So there's no value such that the absolute value of u is -5. And as I just said, the reason that that is true is because it contradicts the definition of absolute value, because distance is always positive. So anytime we have that contradiction, we'll just say that the equation has no solution. Okay, so in order to solve these, we have to rewrite them without the absolute value bars. So if c is positive, then the absolute value of u equals c means that either u equals c or u equals -c. So we get two solutions. If c is 0, that means u equals 0, and that's the only solution. And if c is a negative number, it contradicts the definition of the absolute value. So for example, solve for the variable. So in number 4, we have the absolute value of the quantity 7a minus 5 equals 6. So the 6 is our c, and it's positive. So that means we have two cases. We have 7a minus 5 equals +6, or we have 7a minus 5 equals -6. So now we solve both of these. So on the first one, add 5 to both sides, we get 7a equals 11. And then divide by 7, so we get a equals 11 over 7. Okay, now let's solve the second one. So 7a minus 5 equals -6. If we add 5 to both sides, we get 7a equals -1. Then divide both sides by 7. We get a equals -1/7. So a could either be 11 over 7 or it could be -1 over 7. So why don't you pause the video and try number 5 on your own. Okay, number 5 is the same as the last one. So we have either 3x plus 5 equals 1, or we have 3x plus 5 equals negative 1. Now we go back and we solve. So subtract 5 from both sides. We get 3x equals negative 4. Then divide by 3. We get x equals negative 4/3. Okay, solving the second equation, subtract 5 from both sides again. We get 3x equals negative 6. Divide by 3, we get x equals negative 2. So our two solutions are x is either negative 4/3 or x is negative 2. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Now, these are a little bit different. Before we can break up our absolute value using the definition like we did in problems 4 and 5, we have to isolate the absolute value first. So the first thing we want to do in number 6, since we have 2 times the absolute value of 5x minus 7 equals negative 1, is add 7 to both sides. So that gives us 2 times the absolute value of 5x equals positive 6. Now we need to divide both sides by the 2 so that we get 5x equals, the absolute value of 5x equals 3. So this part was isolating the absolute value. And once we've done that, now we can apply the definition just like we did up above. So now we have 5x either equals positive 3 or 5x equals negative 3. And we can solve. And in this case, it's just a matter of dividing by 5. So x equals 3/5, or if we divide the other one by 5, x equals negative 3/5. All right, why don't you pause the video and try number 7 on your own. So remember, first we need to isolate the absolute value. So subtract 5 from both sides. That gives us 3 times the absolute value of 2x plus 3 equals 0. If we divide both sides of the equation by 3, we get the absolute value of 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now we can break this up. So 2x plus 3 equals 0. And it's really not a matter of breaking it up, because remember, when the absolute value equals 0, we just have whatever's inside the absolute value equals 0. So subtract 3 from both sides. We get 2x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 2, and we have x equals negative 3/2. Okay, let's stop there for this video, and we'll pick up with the inequalities in the next video.